Okay, so
There he is.
if you guys want to tune into the stream, it's RcadeRadio.live, and you can see what the chatters are saying. We're getting a lot of background noise, Brian. I'm wondering if you're actually... Just turn that guy down.
I'm going to mute while I'm not...
All right. Combo breaker. All right, man. Sweet. So this is the pre-show part of the show where we just kind of goof around and make sure that we've got people popping into the chat. Everything looks good on my end. I can see everybody in the windows, so that's good. Mr. Peabody, what's up, man? Welcome to the show. And to the 3 other listeners, feel free to pop into the chat. We'd love to see you there. 4. All right, I have a warm-up question, so we can just kind of shoot the breeze while we're waiting for chatters to join in. Here it goes. Your favorite game of 1985, and it doesn't have to be released in 85. Just try to go back to 85 and think of your time in the arcade there. Were you at Aladdin's Castle? Were you at a Timeout? Where were you? Were you at Chuck E. Cheese? And what game was your favorite game, do you think, in about 85? Troy, I'm gonna quiz you, buddy.
I would have to say Gauntlet.
Gauntlet, all right.
I played that a ton. You spoke to 2 places that I played all the time was Aladdin's Castle and Chuck E. Cheese.
Where was that at?
In Burnsville Center.
Dude, I was in Burnsville. I was at Burnsville. We were
spent a
probably
lot
there.
of time in Burnsville. Probably hanging out together, bro.
No, we were probably there at the same time. Remember, in the corner, I don't know if you remember, but there was 2 memories I have. I think 86 or 87, they came out Afterburner. And that was the environment cabinet. There was a line out the door for that day. Like, of servicemen. They wanted to play that thing. So, like, the Air Force was there, ready to play. Afterburner. And then around the corner to the right, there was an APB in the corner. And that's what inspired me to get an APB in my arcade. So I have an APB fully restored in the basement. So,
Nice.
My favorite game in 85, probably, I don't know, man. It wasn't Dragon's Lair. I hate Dragon's Lair. Brian, did you have one?
you know what? Not to copy what's been said, but 100% Gauntlet.
Really?
In fact, yeah. So we used to... we didn't actually get to the arcade too much growing up. And what my buddy and I used to do is when we were up skiing, we'd sneak off the slopes into the arcade at the lodge. And we would just plug Gauntlet with quarters like there was no tomorrow. So it was Gauntlet, Mario Brothers, and actually those are the 2 games up there that we played all the time. And I mean, that game, we have 2 of them. We just took one over to 2D-Con.
Sweet. A Gauntlet?
Yeah.
Oh, cool, man.
Oh, that's awesome.
Dude, we'll wait for the 2D-Con stuff because it's coming up. Yeah, sweet. Okay, cool. Tim, can you think back to 85? Were you just playing Nibbler still, like, the whole time?
No, I was over it by then. That was already gone. In my area where I lived, small southeast Iowa, arcades were dead. They were gone. There weren't any. So I was at home playing the ColecoVision. And I was vegging out, I believe, on Donkey Kong Jr. and Burger Time probably the most at that point. A little bit of Ladybug.
You got to get yourself one of these.
Atari Max Ultimate. Nice.
I have the Atari Max Ultimate SD ColecoVision cartridge, and that thing has every ROM you could possibly have on the ColecoVision, including Smurf, one of the worst games and best games ever made for the ColecoVision.
Got a lot of good memories of that system.
It's a great system. So
Randy, much. Randy Gelking just chimed in that Gauntlet is the definitive 1985 game. So I think we're backing him up on that. 2 out of 4.
Hey, Randy, welcome back to the show too. It's good to see you in the chat. Well, what do you got? We should probably just get this thing rolling. What do you think? Yeah. All right, let's do that.
I'm up for it.
Sounds good. All right. Here we go.
Live from KOIR studios in Minneapolis, Minnesota, this is Arcade Radio.
Hello, Commander. Computer reporting.
Intruder alert, intruder alert. Stimulating opponent.
Hello and welcome to Season 3, Episode 23 of the Arcade Radio Podcast. Today is Thursday, August 22nd, 2019, and the time is now approximately 7:23 p.m. Central. And in a historic Arcade Radio moment, our co-host and buddy, Mark Shields, is unable to be here tonight. Something about a time circuit problem and a DeLorean. But have no fear, because tonight I'm joined by my co-host, game surgeon and inventor, co-proprietor of the Paradise Arcade Shop and toy hauler to the stars, Mr. Brian McLeod Armitage Thurston Howell III.com, and filling in for Mark Shields, legendary snake tamer and PC gamer. No, not that. Tim McVeigh. Oh, and by the way, tonight we have with us the president of Extra Life's Minneapolis Guild, PC gamer, and old school arcader, Mr. Troy Cleland. Welcome to the show.
It's an honor to be here.
Thank you for coming on. We're going to have a good time tonight. So the first topic is, what have you been up to? What you been working on? So, Brian, why don't we kick it off with you? Since the last time I talked to you like 10 minutes ago, you were pretty busy. Go ahead.
Well, let's see. So we made the commitment to 2DCon to try to get 40 to 50 games over there. And so we spent the last 2 weeks really pounding out, getting games working. The guys in the shop have been actually doing an amazing job at pulling stuff out and getting it going. And we just dropped off a load of about 21 or 22 games over there. And they're actually behind me loading up another group of games. I'm surprised they're not tackling me and taking me over there. But the big announcement is at 3 a.m. last night, we finally, after months of struggling with this game, got the sound for Exterminator to work fully. And so we now have a fully working Exterminator cabinet.
All right.
And if it stops working, it's going in the burn pile.
Okay. I do think we need to hear a little bit about how the sound problem got fixed, because this has been ailing you for not just a couple of days.
So we got this. So I bought this game from an auction, and I won't say I know who the original owner was, and I've been communicating with that person, and it's been actually kind of funny. They're sending me things like ha ha ha, which is that's actually kind of amusing.
Kind of a dick move, actually.
Well, no, because I don't think they actually worked on it. So they had somebody work on it for them, and
sure.
So we got this thing in. The sound didn't work. We hooked it up, and we finally got the 12 volts going, and all the boards blew up. I mean, literally every board went dead.
That's not good.
No. So then I find out that Pinball Resource has original Exterminator boards. And so I buy the original board set minus the soundboard. We repopulate everything, get everything going, except there's no sound. And there's 4 test sections for the sound. And basically over the last 2 weeks, we keep adding another section every 2 to 3 days. We're like, okay, we've got this fixed, and like another sound comes back. Well, there's this auxiliary board that has the Yamaha on it, and one of the sound tests is the Yamaha sound test. So we keep running this, and the Yamaha sound test is working. Little do we know that the Yamaha board is not the Yamaha sound test. And we thought we were getting that working. We were doing all our testing for that. We assumed that was working. We're testing other parts of the board anyways. Long story short, that board was hooked up backwards. We turn it around, repopulate the whole board, still getting the scratchy sound, finally replace the ribbon cable, and voila.
Are you kidding me? So now you know that your soundboard is good.
Everything is good now, because we literally have like gone through and replaced almost everything in the cabinet. And it was funny because we're going through Billy Sevens came by last night and was here till 3 a.m. working with me.
By the way, okay, bravo to Billy 7. And anyone who's been on listening to the whole season, Billy was our guest a few episodes back. Did the whole Moldorama thing. Mike Page and a couple other guests received prizes from him, so that's pretty cool. So, but Billy is like, there you go. There's a Moldorama Frankenstein, super rare, by the way. If you can get one of those, that is a super rare mold right there. Anyway, that's really cool.
He was here till 3 a.m. and
crying out loud.
It was unbelievable. We finally got it. I mean, it was like one of those nights where every half hour we get a little bit of progress.
Wow.
And then you're like, okay, we're gonna go to sleep. Wait a minute, we just got this other thing, and it just dragged out. The funny thing is when it's all said and done, he's looking at it and he was asking me like, halfway through he's going, what about this chip? I'm like, well, we're down to the point where we've replaced all but like 3 chips on the soundboard. So, but it's done. It's great. It's working. It's a blast, and we're getting it over to 2DCon. So 2DCon is going to have Exterminator and War of the Worlds, which would be 2 pretty rare games to have out on the floor.
Sweet. And tell us how many games you've loaded onto the floor tonight and again.
22 so far, and then literally they have another 8 games over on the loading dock over there ready to go, and we'll probably take another 10, 15 games out of here, and then I got to load another 10 to 15 up at the house tonight.
Cripes. So that's really cool. Yeah, man, I was waiting to hear about that Exterminator thing. So I'm totally jazzed that you got that working. I'm going to try it out tomorrow. It'll be fun. And by the way, we'll get into the news here in a little bit. I hope you have more news articles than I have, Brian, because there's only one in my chute. I'll go next. Millipede. I got this game last fall with Brian. We bought a bunch of games. And one of them was Journey, which I kind of put on hiatus last August. Holy crap, what was that? And then I'm actually I'm picking that up right now too. So there's a Easter egg here. So anyway, getting Millipede ready for 2DCon, and I had some major issues. The game board was resetting. The bugs were going down on the left side only on a single column, not being randomized, no mushrooms, dirty as sin, no illumination, all kinds of problems. And I ended up fixing all of it just by cleaning it up, cleaning the boards, getting rid of the filter board, and then plugging everything back in, and the game played great. Also, I put in a Multipede kit from High Score Saves, which is the original Braze kit, which is nice because now I can play both Centipede and Millipede in the same game. But when I went to go work on the illumination, that was a little bit of a crappy thing because there was a mouse nest. And if you guys know anything about mice to pieces, they love to shit and piss where they live, which sucks for arcade games. Luckily, it was in the light box where the fluorescent tube was. So when I pulled that thing, I was like, "Oh, I just got to change the starter and everything's gonna work." But no, somebody had pulled the starter and thrown it on the bottom, and the whole thing was been peed on. So I had to rip this piece of wood out, cut a new piece of wood, and then clean up all the metals with like vapor rust, and just I put in a lot of time to get this thing back to working, and then the frickin' ballast was buzzing like crazy. And with a little help from Brian, actually, I ended up, and Alan Estenson, I ended up going to my local Ace Hardware and finding the exact part that I needed to replace to get the buzzing to go away. So that thing is mint and ready to go for 2DCon. And I'm going to put a link into the chat, you guys, if you want to look at some pictures. They're there. It was just crazy. I had a big 2 weeks here. Journey has been repainted. There's some bonus pictures along with those Millipede ones of the paint job, and it's unbelievable. It's like a bass boat. It's that fleck, that sort of I don't know how to. It's like a sparkly fleck paint that they put on boats back in the day. Look, it's just freaking cool. So that's really awesome. And then what else? I got a DK Junior bezel and a marquee to replace my blemished and cracked ones. I don't have those here. I'm probably gonna show those on Kong Club later. And then I got a couple of cool Crazy Kong pieces. I'm kind of a Donkey Kong. I like all the crappy knockoff stuff. So here is a this is a new old stock Crazy Kong control panel overlay. As you can see, they're ripping off Donkey Kong with awful pictures. And then and here's the marquee, which is clearly drawn by like someone's 8-year-old son. And then freaking silk screened, right? So this was in an actual arcade game. So I got that. And then the other cool thing was I talked about it on the last show. I think I got this Mr. Video board, and I got my security monitors in the mail. And the cool thing is I put these security monitors on top of my Donkey Kong, or one of them, and hooked up Mr. Video with an S-Video cable. And now I get like... it's like back in the day. You guys remember those Dragon's Lair machines with the demo monitors on top, so you could see what people are playing? My DK does that now. It's super cool. So I'll put that in the chat as well. That is this link. Here you go. So check that out. It's pretty cool. The other things I'm working on my Defender, replacing all the sockets on the ROM board, new interconnect cable, and trying to get some NVRAM working, and working on my power supply. So that I've been working on a lot of arcade stuff lately. I'm pretty proud of myself, actually, if I do say so myself. So anyway, let's get on to our guest, Troy. Tell us what you've been working on this week. That's maybe video game, arcade related, etc., etc.
I am actually I'm going to get back into getting my Raspberry Pi back up and running with some ROMs.
3B Plus or?
I have the second edition. I haven't upgraded to the 3B
sweet.
Plus yet.
And the 4 is out now.
Yeah. I can't keep up.
But the 4 doesn't have a RetroPie build, so you're fine. Stick
right.
with, yeah.
That's what I heard is the 4 does not have RetroPie capable.
Yeah.
But yeah, I want to make a cabinet and taking some examples of my D&D video monitor that I use for doing Dungeons and Dragons mapping, taking that and making myself taking that concept and making an actual like a coffee table-ish
cool
type, RetroPie
that would be
game
sweet
system.
Yeah, cool. By the way, there's tons of like cocktail machines out there you can, and I think there's plans online too you can get too.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome. So you're working on RetroPie, and then we'll probably get into Extra Life and stuff a little bit later, huh?
Yep.
Sweet.
Exactly.
Tim, what have you been up to?
Man, every time I'm on the show, I feel lazy because you guys are way overachieving compared to what I'm getting into right now.
Dude, like that's an anomaly that I've been doing this much stuff. I mean, like, normally I'm like, I bought a part for my Journey that I haven't touched in a year.
It sounds like me. That's where I'm going. I've got a stack of old gaming. Well, I'm hoping they're going to be old gaming PCs. A bunch of old computers in the basement, like, I don't know, 17 or 18 of them.
Sure.
And I finally quit procrastinating a little bit about a week and a half ago, and I pulled out this really nice, clean Packard Bell that I want to get running. It's a Pentium 100, so, I mean, that tells you how old it is.
Sweet.
But the system doesn't want to boot. It's giving me hard drive errors, and I went online and I started looking around, and I think the simple solution, at least this is the path I'm going to try. I ordered the DOM disk on a module for it. Mm-hmm. It plugs right into the IDE and it just replaces the hard drive. And then to replace the floppy drive, I ordered it's a USB. It's got a CPU built into it. It's a bay that goes in place of the floppy drive. And it's supposed to emulate a floppy drive to the old system, so you can put ROM images off of floppies onto a USB stick and then use that to load them into the system. So I don't know if all this is going to work yet. I've done some reading. I've spent a few bucks. I'm waiting on parts to get here, and that's the path I'm starting down. Finally, trying to get some of this old stuff running. I want to get an old, just a legit retro PC. With the old CRT. I've got a couple of them around here.
Sweet.
Want to get like Diablo 1 on it. I want to go back old school. So that's what I'm working on right now.
Diablo 1.
Yep.
That's pretty cool.
I want to play it right. I never got to experience it. I was doing consoles and other things at that time, and I totally missed it. And the wife and I, we loved the Diablo 3, and I've went back and I've seen Diablo 2 a little bit. It'll run in Windows 10, but it literally runs. Your character is just running. And I'm like, yeah, this ain't working. So I want to go retro. I've got a bunch of different systems. I'm going to try to get something put together so I can go back and experience Diablo 1 and Diablo 2 the right way.
I love Diablo 2. I thought it was fun.
That's what I keep hearing. So I want to get that experience. I want to experience that myself.
Sweet.
Well, I love Diablo 2. I actually play Path of Exile, which is very much like Diablo 2. So
sweet.
I've got that and haven't really got into it yet. I've heard it's really fun too. I'm a hoarder. I've got this big backlog, 900 and some games installed on my PC. So
it's funny you should mention that.
I don't have time to play.
You should. I was just thinking the other day, GOG had a sale. Games on Galaxy.
Tell me that.
Galaxy of Games.
I don't need more.
Right, and I have like 95 games on there, which are all like retro from when I was, back in my 20s, and I love it because they figure it all out, and then in my my late teens, like the Space Quest series with. And King's Quest, and those games all run in DOSBox, and they've got it all configured for you, so you don't have to do anything except load it up. It's super fun.
I'll go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just gonna say they're having a sale, like 75% off a lot of the games. So I just bought like another 6 games for $15. I'm up to like 97 games. I don't even know what to do. So
I mean, is everybody excited about the new Baldur's Gate? Because I know I played a crap ton of that one.
I didn't even know that was coming out.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's sometime next year probably, but they announced that the new Baldur's Gate, continuing from the Baldur's Gate 2 and on.
I love it when they do that. They did like a StarCon reboot and a King's Quest re-skinning and all that stuff. That's super awesome. Well, let's move on to the next section, which I think we're all ready for. Here we go.
Good evening.
The Arcade News, arcades, pinball, industry alumni, arcade openings, collecting, celebrities, world record holders, operators, coin-op, conventions, new products and gadgets, gamers. The Arcade News.
I'm Brian McLeod.
I'm Adam Stevens.
We interrupt. There's been a late development.
And now, the Arcade News with Brian McLeod.
Take it, Brian.
Welcome. Hey, it is the Arcade News. Welcome. So we have a couple of news articles we're going to go through pretty quickly, and the top one here is you saw Billy Sevens jumping in the background there, getting on me for not packing the truck. But 2DCon starts tomorrow. Minneapolis Hyatt, downtown Minneapolis, $40. It's one of the cheapest all-inclusive gaming events you can go to. There is tabletop RPG, speedrunning, retro games, retro tournaments. There are Street Fighter tournaments. Pretty much no matter what your gaming style is, what you enjoy doing, there's something for you to do there. So we'd encourage everybody to get down there, have some fun with it, enjoy it, and say hi to us if you see us there.
Sweet.
So Adam's going down. I know he's got to bring his millipede down. We should have had Tim come visit.
It'd be fun.
That'd been great.
I need to get to one of those.
That's a good time. There's a lot of things for just about everybody there. So
Yeah.
Are you going to be down there for a little while, or what's?
I have family in town, so I have the weekend booked of all sorts of things, just not gaming related.
Oh, that's too bad. That's too bad.
So the other news, and we will keep it relatively brief tonight, is The Verge is reporting that there are some leaks. We've talked about this before. The Apple Arcade video game subscription service is coming out this fall, but it was rumored that it's going to be $4.99 a month, which is actually less expensive than most of their other services. Kind of an interesting idea. I mean, everything is subscription now, which we've talked about in the past, and how they kind of get you on the monthly thing instead of just charging you one time. But $4.99 a month, depending on what they have on there and what they're doing, actually could be a little bit of fun.
Sure.
So, and then finally, I know we talked about this briefly, but I don't know if I mentioned my direct experience with it. The arcade 1-Up Star Wars is officially available for pre-sale.
Yeah, we did this like a month ago, but go ahead and let's talk about it again.
Well, so the interesting thing was, did we talk about the controller on this?
I think we did a little bit, but go ahead and elaborate. I know there was a partnership with the guys that are doing the...
No, I don't know that there is.
Oh.
So that's the interesting thing. So they put the metal controller, and this is so I know we talked about this, but the pre-sale is now started. That is new. And then the other thing is that the controller on it is actually plastic.
Right.
But it's like the arcade game?
Yeah, but it's in partnership with the company that did the original, the remake controller, right?
I'm not sure that it is. They used the remake controller for their demo units. They had a full-on metal controller for their demo units, but when I was out at Evo, they actually had a plastic-based controller that I played on.
Yeah.
It's interesting feel.
Does it play all right?
It's so-so.
Yeah.
That's kind of sad.
Yeah, I mean, the funny thing is that the whole cabinet's, less expensive, about the same price as the actual remade controllers are in the full metal, so it's hard to keep the cost down. But I mean, it actually, with the base on there, they've done a nice job with the artwork. It is a neat looking machine, but I just that's the brief news tonight.
All right, well that's good. That means we have to move on to a section that is normally helmed by Mr. Mark Shields. We'll see how this goes.
Back in '82, I used to be able to throw a pigskin a quarter mile.
Back to the cave with Time Runner.
Why are things so heavy in the future? Is there a problem with the Earth's gravitational pull?
I'm going to hand this over to Tim for the first section. Tim, what are we talking about in Back to the Cade?
So back in August of 1985, Electronic Games Magazine, the first dedicated video game magazine published in the United States, published its last issue.
Oh, that's sad.
Kind of sad.
Yeah.
Released in July of '85, Sega's smash hit Hang On had been dominating sales in the arcades for a month.
Wow.
As this month, in 1985, ATI Technologies is founded, originally as Array Technology in North America by Li Ka Lau, Francis Lau, Benny Lau, and I'm not going to try this last name. Kwok Yun Ho. Hope I don't offend anybody with those pronunciations, but ATI, some of you listening might know it more as AMD right now. That's where they've switched over in graphics.
And Troy, you're a PC gamer, and Tim, you're a PC gamer. Give us a little lowdown on what the whole industry looked like. Let's talk a little bit about it. I think it's kind of cool.
I think for me, the think about it is, they both were against each other. ATI and NVIDIA were still a thing back then. But I think ATI had the video side of things, like their video rendering and on-card video codec was better. They had true colors, and NVIDIA at the time was more of the gaming chip, per se, from my experience.
Yeah, I would agree with that. NVIDIA, they started heading into the SLI territory and pairing up cards, and they really kind of separated from each other at that point. And during that era, I think most of the cards I owned were actually ATI cards.
Yeah. Well, they were really affordable, and I think that was about the time when people were looking to do not just gaming, but also do video rendering. If you're looking for quality of color, I think ATI had the edge on quality of color. They weren't the fastest gaming card, but...
Personally, I think the last thing that I purchased that was ATI branded was my Nintendo Wii. If you have a Wii and you look at it, you'll see the ATI logos on the top of it because that's the graphics chip that powers it.
Yep.
And for my collection anyway, that was the most recent purchase.
Yeah, and when did they merge? When did AMD purchase ATI?
Yeah, I'm not sure. It would have been shortly, I think just before the Wii released, actually. Somewhere right around that time frame.
Looking up on the... 2006. They acquired ATI.
And I'm not sure what year did the Wii release. Do you know offhand? That had to be pretty close, 2006 or 7. I should have looked this up earlier.
2019, 2006, yeah.
Yeah,
November
I think that
19th.
was their last partnership. They got the contract with Nintendo, and they got the hardware and the console,
Right.
and then they got swooped in and snatched up and gone.
They still focused as a separate best identities, because for even after the merger, they for a couple years later they still continued releasing ATI cards. They had AMD the CPU and ATI video cards. Then all of a sudden, at some point, they did one logo. So
I guess I shouldn't have said gone then. Just the area that I am. I didn't see them in
Right.
stores anymore.
right.
And that was, for me, that was a little bit really before I got into Newegg and Amazon and all that stuff.
Right. Yeah, I knew AMD was their CPU chip manufacturing, and ATI they were focusing to try to compete with the NVIDIA and Intel. So
I think that's what kind of crippled AMD for the better part of a decade. They were spread too thin.
Yeah. Well, my first card was a Diamond Viper 330. Quake 2 player right here. Unreal Tournament. Those were my games. And then UT 2004 eventually. But yeah, I and then Far Cry. And I'm so like old school on that stuff because I don't keep up with all the. I'm not an Overwatch player. What's the Fortnite? I'm not a Fortnite guy. I tried Fortnite on the console. That sucks. I don't know about you guys, but I can't play FPSs on a console. Sucks. I don't know, Tim.
One of my first cards was a diamond card. Was ATI branded, and it's so old. It's probably hard for people to grasp today. But it had 512K, not even a full meg of RAM on it. And I remember I didn't even know how to contact him, but the phone number was actually on the carton for the card. And I called Diamond up, and I ordered over the phone directly from the manufacturer. I ordered the other 512K, and it was 2 chips that came. There's 2 sockets on the card. You just lined up the pins and pushed it in, and I had a full 1 meg. It was like, holy cow, a 1 meg card. And now you look at 1 meg, and you're like, can you even do anything with that? Can you even open a picture with 1 meg now?
Right.
It's crazy.
Nice.
No.
That's crazy.
No, probably
No,
that's
not
crazy.
at all.
Probably not. I bet you're right.
Let's
Can't even put a photo on there.
right.
Nope.
Psst.
Not many.
Let's talk about some of the other stuff that's going on. So, also in Back to the Cade at the box office, we this, and sad Mark's not here because we're in 1985. This is his wheelhouse, right? Released July 3rd in 85. Back to the Future had already been out for a month. Directed by Robert Zemeckis, produced by Steven Spielberg, of course. It was killing. And Michael J. Fox is, of course, Marty McFly, who travels back in time from 85 to 55, where he meets his mom and tries to have sex with her, and then ends up coming back via Christopher Lloyd. So there's all those details. But wait, on August 23rd, which is tomorrow, Michael J. Fox also stars in Teen Wolf. So he's in like 2 or 3 movies in the box office. I don't know if he's in 3, but he's in at least 2 movies in the box office at the same time. This guy's like a big hit. So, of course, fantasy horror comedy directed by Rod Daniel. Film stars Fox as a high school student who discovers that he and his family have an unusual pedigree. Woof, woof. And also, Better Off Dead, one of my all-time favorite movies and my all-time favorite John Cusack movie. I do like Grosse Point Blank quite a bit. But Better Off Dead, 1985 American dark teen romantic comedy about this kid who falls in love with this, is in love with this girl who dumps him and then ends up falling with this foreign exchange student. And Cusack plays Lane Meyer. This is Lane Meyer, and rebuilds the Camaro and this whole bit. You guys remember? It's your movie. Also, did you know that tomorrow in 1985? Ghostbusters was re-released in select markets because of its popularity the year before. So that's pretty cool. I didn't know that.
I didn't know they re-released it either.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. What was on TV? CBS and NBC were competing. CBS had Magnum P.I. on the 8 o'clock hour and 9 o'clock, followed by Simon and Simon. NBC was competing with Cosby Show, Family Ties, Cheers, and Night Court. I mean, TV was so awesome back then. We had 3 channels, and everything was awesome. And CBS did try to release a new series called Hometown on the 22nd, which competed with Hill Street Blues for almost the same ratings. So, do you guys have any memories about those lovely shows?
Well, I had too many. Like, hello, Magnum PI, the mustache? What?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I mean, Tom Selleck was like the thing back then.
Right. Yeah.
We lived right down the road from the Magnum PI house in Waimanalo when we were in Hawaii. That's kind of fun.
Sweet. That's a big estate.
The only show I watched out of all that was Night Court. I never really got into the other ones. That was the comedies that hooked me into.
Magnum PI.
Bull, that guy was so good.
Yeah, that show cracks me up.
Bull. Oh, you're saying Bull, Troy? That's freaking
Yeah.
Yeah.
The court.
Yeah.
The
guy,
bailiff.
Yeah. The bailiff.
Well, and what's his head? The star. What was his name?
Harry Anderson.
Yeah. Well, there's the character, right?
Yeah.
He was on Cheers also.
Richard Dean Anderson, I think, was his name.
Richard Dean Anderson. He was MacGyver, but
wrong one.
Yeah, right. But that character who was the star of Night Court was also on Cheers repeatedly. So.
Right.
As Harry, he played a character called Harry, who was a pickpocket. Yeah, that actor was hilarious. I wonder whatever happened to him. I don't,
I'm pretty sure he passed away.
No,
I think he did.
No.
He was pretty young.
Yeah, he'd be super young.
I thought I read that.
Who?
I'm looking him up right now. Harry from
Harry Anderson.
Night Court.
He died in 2018.
What the shit? Are you serious?
Yeah.
Yep.
Harry Anderson.
Yep.
I'm depressed now.
He was the judge.
65. That's super young. Holy crap.
I almost forgot that John LaRoquette was on that show.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. He's what made it. One of the things that made it hilarious.
Yeah, he is. Yeah. I remember him in Stripes. Oh, to be a loofah.
Stripes was awesome.
Yep.
God, Stripes was such a great show. Oh, well, normally this is where Mark would also ask me, "Hey, Adam.
What's in the juke?"
What? So this is the part of the show. Oh wait, let me do it in a little Casey Kasem style here. Hello again, and welcome to What's in the Juke. My name is Adam, last name here, and we're about to play our bi-weekly game where our chatters name the tunes. Our selections come from the official Billboard survey of record stores and radio stations across America. We'll play a clip of a song. The chatters will guess the name of the song and the artist for a full point. If they get one or the other, they get a half point. Let's kick it off with the first random selection from the Hot 100 of the week of August 17th, 1985. And I gotta play these like I have them queued up, right? All right, here we go.
Watch out, here I come.
That's my clip. Is that good enough? Should I do it again?
Yeah, let's do it one more time.
All right.
Watch out, here I come.
Oh, you spin me round.
So
no one's actually got the name yet, but
half a point.
Mike Page got half a point for the artist. I mean, should I be a stickler?
Half point.
Half point for Mr. Page, and you spin me round, Randy Gelking. You're gonna get that half point because you got it correct. You got the full name. It's a little nitpicky, but it is the beginning of the game. Tim, are you keeping track of these guys?
I am.
All right, so
That's why you hear me clicking.
yeah, who do we got who's got what now? Right now,
Mike and Randy both have a half point.
all right, so that's good. So everybody's ready for the next track. boy. You know, I just I'm not. I'm just. What the heck here? Let's try this. I just want to make sure I play the right clip. All right, here we go. You think that's gonna do it? That's a tricky one.
That's a tough one.
Yeah, I'm gonna play that again.
That's tough.
No. I might have to play a little more of that song because it's just that the first.
I even know what it is, and I couldn't get it off that.
Yeah, here we go. We got to be in. Oh, and he guessed Frankie Goes to Hollywood. I like the guess. That's not who it is. Oh, Randy got it. Get It On is correct. Bang a Gong.
80s Tool.
Right, exactly. 80s Tool. And who is Power Station? Randy gets a full point, I think. Do you guys confirm?
Yeah. It looks like...
Does that look good?
Yeah.
I'm going to give that guy a full point.
Full point.
Randy, welcome back. You're doing good. Andy, you got a contender. You got a contender tonight. The next track, I don't even know if I have this song. I might actually skip this one and go on to the next one, and then we will do that next. So here we go. Really? Okay. Next track is. You gotta be kidding me. Here we go. That's all I'm playing. Is that tough?
No, if you know the song, this is gonna be an easy one.
Yeah.
Shouldn't even have to hear the lyrics for that one.
Right, I know. It's We'll see.
Hooters.
That is it. Hooters. That's not. Is it And We Danced? It is And We Danced. Who got that?
That was Andy Feldman.
Yep.
I love the beginning of this song.
Hell, I'm sitting here laughing. I didn't realize what song it was.
What's that? What'd you say, Tim?
I'm sitting here laughing at the Hooters. I'm like, I didn't realize what song it
It was
was.
the actual band name. You're like, yeah, sure,
Yeah,
whatever,
I
buddy.
should have been reading.
Okay. All right, here comes the next track. This one might be a little tougher. It might be the first of our quote-unquote hair bands of the night. We haven't had any of those, right? So let's try this out. Here we go. I played like 30 seconds of that song. Nobody's gotten it yet.
Wow, that blows my mind.
All right, okay, I'm going to play a little bit more, and then we're going to let our guest tell everybody what... Ooh, Andy Baldwin pulled AC/DC. He gets a half point. Oh my gosh. All right, guys, put them out of their misery. Who is it?
Well, you got it right, AC/DC.
Yep.
Right. And it's Fly on the Wall.
From the album
Fly on the Wall.
Fly on the Wall.
Or Fly on the Wall, yeah.
Yeah, that's sweet. It's hard. Sometimes these are just not easy to get. So who got the half point?
Half point.
Andy Baldwin.
That was Andy Baldwin.
Oh, sweet. So we. All right, Tim. Tell us who's got the. Tell us the point totals and who's in first, second, third place.
Well, we got a tie for first. Randy Gilliking has 1.5 points, and Andy Baldwin has 1.5 points, and Mike Page is in third with a half point.
Wow, that's good. So that's.
I'm creating my Wix site.
You guys, you're really close. Here we go. All right, here comes the next one. All right. I think that's enough.
Ooh. Voice alone should give that away.
I know, man. I love this band so much. Copyright strike. I like Andy Baldwin guess Wix commercial because he heard me playing the commercial.
Yes.
Huey Lewis is not.
Okay, half point.
Oh,
for
Randy.
Song.
Randy got half point. Dude, that's good.
Half point.
And who's the artist? You guys can do this.
I'm working all night on the line. When the black smoke stacks, spinning Cadillac stack. Not one of them will ever be mine. But I'm gonna make it.
Oh my gosh, Randy.
Half point.
Randy, you got both half points for a
full point.
That's pretty good. Let's play a little more of that track because I think it's awesome.
It's alright. I'm living in the C-I-T-Y. Taking hard times in the city. Living in the C-I-T-Y. Out there ain't no dream.
We're totally getting flagged. I don't care. Okay. All right. The next. Right. It's like, what do? Sometimes you just have to listen to the music. It's so frustrating because we're not playing like the whole song. We're just having a good time, right? It's so good. Okay. I don't know what to do about this next track, but let's try this. I mean,
Andy.
That's good stuff.
Yeah, right. Exactly. It's like, we buy T-shirts. By the way, if you guys buy T-shirts, I get like $5. We can give away more prizes.
Not tonight. John Cafferty's getting it.
Exactly. No, not John Cafferty. Like Universal or Sony's getting it.
Yeah, right.
And the musicians never got any of those royalties. It was Ollie's the recording studio.
Right.
Oh, I don't doubt that at all.
Oh. Here, can you guys hear it coming in here?
Barely. That should be enough right there.
Okay, I'll cut it off. What, should I cut it off?
Oh, there's the artist. There's a half point.
Andy got half point.
Money for muffing. Let's give it to Andy. He gets a full point for that one.
Full point.
To Andy Baldwin for Dire Straits, Money for Nothing. One of the possible. Yeah, I know. It's such a good.
I was gonna say one of the best videos ever.
And this right here is so good. Hook, man.
Look at them yo-yos. That's the way they do it.
Yep.
They get the money.
Such a good song and video.
Such a good song. That whole album is phenomenal.
Really
Mark Knopfler is like...
Knopfler's awesome.
Oh, God. You guys ever... Okay, this is a sidetrack, but you guys ever hear the Princess Bride soundtrack? Princess Bride?
Yeah.
He does the whole thing.
Yeah.
It's so good. The guy is so freaking talented. Okay.
He's got some great solo albums, too.
Yeah, he does. Okay. So, we did You Spin Me Round, right? Get It On, Gang a Bong by Power Station. That's what it's bang a gong. Sorry, gang a
There you
bong.
go.
Gang a bong.
It's
All
funny
right.
the way you said it out.
Sorry,
Not yet.
I don't live in Colorado, but hey, if I did, it'd be gang a bong. Flying a wall, AC/DC, CITY by John Cafferty and the Beaver Brown Band, and We Dance by the Hooters, Money for Nothing, Dire Straits, and that brings us to, okay, first of all, Tim, give us an update. How are we looking on points?
Let's see. Andy has 2. He has 2.5. Randall has 2.5, and Mike has half.
So we have a tie
We're
right
still
now.
tied.
All right, okay, here we go. Here comes the next track. I think
should
that's
be
enough. That's plenty. I'll play it
That
again.
intro riff alone.
That's it.
That's it. That's all you need. I'm gonna cry if nobody gets this.
Motley
All right.
Rue,
Mike
Mike
got the
Page.
half,
I'm gonna
and
give
Ryan G got half.
I'm gonna give Mike that one, even though he missed the C. He did get it. And who got the song? Smoking the Ryan G. Ryan G's on the
Ryan G.
board. Check that out.
Half point.
Mike
For-
Page got a half and Ryan got a half.
That's pretty
Half
sweet.
point.
We got some new players on the board, and the Relfords are still not in this. That's too bad because they would be poning everybody, but they're not. They're just not here. It's so sad. Now we got, yeah. I mean, 1985 was a great year for music, wasn't it? I mean,
Hair metal, man.
yeah, hair metal. I mean, but it was across the board. There was all these different bands. You had hair metal, you had rock, you had pop, and everything in the Hot 100. It was just a total mix. I loved it. So you go to the arcade and you get a good variety. Okay, here comes the next track. I think that's all I get.
That's probably enough, yeah.
Should I do it again? This is probably one of my all-time favorite songs by this person. Mellencamp, Randy is actually correct, mostly. But I think, do we have to give it to Andy because he got John Cougar Mellencamp? Because it was
he going by John Cougar
he was going by
Mellencamp at that
John
time?
Cougar Mellencamp at the time. I think we have to give it to Andy. The half point, right?
He got the whole point.
Oh, he gets the whole point.
Yeah, you got both.
On my screen.
I'm going to say the whole point for Andy because he called out John Cougar Mellencamp. And that is it. Because he started as John Cougar because the studio said, your name Mellencamp is dumb. You can't.
They weren't wrong, but...
Right. Right? They're like, you can't have Mellencamp. That's just dumb. All right, let's play a little more of this song.
They were right that it was dumb, but they were wrong because he still sold music.
He's a talented dude. Okay, let's listen to a little bit more of that.
She calls me home and says, baby, it's a lonely
old night. Lonely old night. So the Andy Baldwin gets another full point. And we are on to the next track. I think Andy's a little bit ahead of everybody right now. Am I not?
He has a 1-point lead right now.
Oh, geez.
3.5 to 2.5, and we have 3 people tied with a half.
All right. This next one is going to be... I'm going to play them a little bit out of order. So if you guys are reading the show notes, you're going to be screwed. But okay, here we go. Is that enough?
It wouldn't have been for me, but it should be.
Such a great movie.
Yeah, here comes the flood. Oh, Cyndi Lauper, Randy Gelking, and who gets the name? The name of the track. Goonies are good enough. Andy Baldwin pulls out the other half, so Andy gets a half point.
Half point.
And Randy gets a half point. It's the Andy and Randy show tonight. That's pretty sweet. I mean, that's pretty cool, right?
Yeah.
And all right. Here we go. And this, okay, here comes another one that may have some sort of commercial.
I switched to Geico
and
and saved
he
hundreds.
switched to Geico and saved millions. I hate it when I don't have the song and I have to do that crap. Okay, and I probably should just pull them up my Amazon account because I have I subscribe to Amazon Music, so it's like, why can't I just do that, right? See how these guys do. But it's Randy, you
Gecko.
exactly.
Yeah.
Andy got half.
Andy gets half, not rat. In and Out of Love, Mr. Peabody. Who is going to get the artist? Andy Baldwin. I'll play a little bit more. Oh, Mike Page pulls it out for the Bon Jovi. Nice. Mike Page, half point. And Andy Baldwin. Half point. Is that right? Am I on track for that?
It looks right.
Sweet. Cool. All right, so we are almost at the end of the game. We are at the end of the game. Who's in the lead? What's it looking like?
Let me do some math here real quick.
All right.
Got a bunch of people got a bunch of different. Yeah, right.
That's right. As we're
Andy
tallying.
Baldwin has 4.5.
Okay.
Randall Gelking has. Add them up here. I'm kind of slow tonight. Sorry, guys.
That's right.
3.
I've got him down for 2 halves and a whole one, so I've only got him down for 2.
Okay.
Did I miss? No, there's one. I missed another one. I got him down for 3. I'm sorry.
Sweet.
So then Mike Page has 2 halves. He's got a whole point. No, he's got a point and a half. And then Ryan G's got a half point.
So it goes Mike Page for third place.
Yes.
All right. Our Canadian guy has been winning like every freaking week. And then we have Randy back in the game. Second place, and then Andy in first place.
Yep.
So that means, Andy, you're taking home the NES satellite and a arcade radio coaster. And here it is. It's tested and works. I know it works. And it's also a 4-score. So if you like, NES games in 4-score, you get that. And then, Randy, which color do you want? I'm going to let you choose because you're second player. Do you want the white on black or the black on white? You let me know in the chat. And I'll send Mike the other one. These are vinyl stickers. They go on your laptop, whatever. He's happy with the second, which is, what did I say? White on black? Black on white? Okay, so you're going to...
He said that earlier. He said I'm happy with second place.
Sure, yeah, but which sticker do you want? Do you want
white on black.
White on black, okay. White on black. So you get this one, and then, Mike, you're going to get this one in the mail. Sweet. Dude, that was just crazy. That was a fun show. I mean, for like What's in the Juke, we had a good time, right?
There's some good songs in there.
Yeah, okay.
Awesome songs.
Let's move on to the next segment of the show. That's a nice gong there. And this is the part of the show where we welcome back Mr. Troy Cleland. You have something to do with Extra Life, and you're sort of a gamer guy.
This little thing, Extra Life.
Well, let's kick it off with that, actually, because I know it's coming up, and I know you want to talk about it. So tell us what Extra Life is. Tell us how you got involved with that. And then we're going to kind of hit the Wayback Machine and ask you a few classic gaming questions.
Sweet. So Extra Life is a gaming marathon ran by gamers, supported by gamers for CMN hospitals. So
CMN is Children's
Miracle Network Hospitals. Sweet. Yes. So here in the Twin Cities, it's Gillette is the hospital that we support. So that's the one that I represent as the Twin Cities president.
Awesome.
We basically, it was this year's November 2nd, so once every year there's a 24-hour marathon that we game for 24 hours, raising money for kids throughout, and they do it all over the country.
Cool. So what kind of games do you play? You're talking about marathoning, so it's a 24-hour thing, right?
Yep.
What's a marathon?
Some it's running. Mine is this, playing games for a long time.
So give us some examples of the types of games people play, and then how long they play them for 24 hours. And it's basically like if you run a race, right? And you're doing the old, back in the 80s, you would do like a cure for cancer or whatever. People would say, hey, I'm going, they go door to door. They say, if I'm going to run this 10K, for every mile, can you give me $1.25? So is that similar, or what is it?
So it's pretty flexible. Mainly, it's up to the player, but basically we play anything. It's actually been opened up to board games now, so it's not just video games. We play board games, pen and paper, or whatever. We actually play dodgeball once in a while at night just to get the blood flowing at 1 o'clock in the morning to get you out there going. But we have guys that play a 13-hour D&D session during our marathon. We got guys that go back to the old Nintendo and ColecoVisions and try to like play some classic games and play complete playthroughs on games. And people do challenges. Some people will say, hey, I need a $25 donation and I'll play this game through with try to do this challenge or whatever.
So let's just say, for example, I'm just as an example. I'm Tim McVeigh, but I'm not.
Yeah.
And I'm really good at Nibbler, but I'm not. And I want to do a 24-hour gaming session, which I could totally do because I'm totally awesome. And I say, hey, I'm Tim McVeigh. If I marathon Nibbler, the arcade game, for 24 hours, will you give me $100? And you could ask
totally do that.
You could ask that of every single one of your donors, or $10 or whatever it is, right?
Yep.
And so at the end of his 24-hour session, if he's got 100 donors at $10, that's $1,000 for the Children's Miracle Network, which is Gillette's Children's Hospital here in Minneapolis.
Yep, that is correct.
That's pretty freaking cool.
And I gotta say, like, Gillette Children's is an amazing place to donate to.
Just to remind our listeners, Brian is an orthopedic surgeon, works in the Alina system and other. Where else do you work?
Mostly in the Alina system, but United Abbott. But I actually, as a medical student, spent time at Gillette, and the physicians that are there are just top notch. I mean, they have one of the best congenital hand surgeons in the country. They just, the work they do with kids is really amazing, and the resources they put into it and the time they put into it, the research they've done, they really are an impressive hospital. It's when I was in Hawaii training, the hand surgeon from Gillette visited, and like, not me personally, but visited the hospitals there to help with some of the congenital hand deformities that come up in the South Pacific that no one else could handle. So I mean, that's cool. How impressive the staff is here.
So
nice.
Okay, so we kind of understand how the money works, how the marathon works.
Yep.
I'd like to go back a little bit further and ask you, how'd you get involved?
I've been doing this for 8 years now. So this year is my 8th year, I think, if I remember correctly.
That's awesome.
And I had just started my new job at the company I'm currently at, that I've also been at for 8 years. Somebody had talked about they were going to game for the weekend, raising money, and I was like, what are you doing? And they're like, yeah, we're going to game for 24 hours. I'm raising money to help kids. And I'm like, how do I get involved? Because I'm going to game 24 hours this weekend anyway. Why not make it a win-win situation?
Well, that's pretty sweet.
So I've been doing this. I started running a team at my work, and participated for 2 or 3 years, and then was asked to become the president of the Twin Cities chapter.
I don't think it's a sin for you to tell people where you work, right?
Where I work? No, probably not. I work at Nerdery.
The Nerdery, which is a fantastic company, by the way.
Yeah.
are a staple here in Minneapolis for developers and nerds that want to go to work in the tech industry. What do you do there right now?
I am a cloud engineer.
That is sweet, man. Okay, first of all, I might have a little connection. I was there for a little bit as a sort of a sales engineer position. But Troy helped me out because he was in IT, and now you are a cloud platform engineer. That's pretty freaking awesome. Yep. I love it.
Yep. I help our company migrate and move to the cloud, our whole data center. So
that's super cool. I love it. And so that's kind of how you got involved with Extra Life. What's been the most rewarding piece of this? Like, okay, you guys are gaming 24/7. You're getting some recognition for the work you're doing for these kids. Have you met any of them? What's it been like? What's been the rewards been like?
I would have to say the most rewarding aspect is the kids. Like 4 or 5 years ago, we were asked by Gillette to host our first Gillette family. So had the family and their daughter, Lauren, come. She's been a lifelong Gillette patient. She was 8, I think, at the time. Got to know her and her family, and they were blown away by just what we were doing and how we were doing it and how we treated them, and it made them like their daughter didn't feel any different than anybody else at that 24-hour event. And every year since, they have come to hang out during our 24-hour marathon, even though they moved to Phoenix, Arizona.
Wow.
They fly up every year,
hang
out with us and the other Gillette families that are there. And last year, Lauren, I think she was 12 at the time, she turned around and almost pulled off 24 hours. She was there for 21 or 22 hours last year.
Wow.
So it's seeing the looks on the kids' faces and getting an opportunity to sit down and play video games and feel like a normal kid, and not, just enjoy those aspects. That right there was awesome.
So typically these are like board games, D&D games, video PC games, console games, right?
Yep.
What if you were able to get a couple of, and I'm just throwing this out here, but what if you were able to get a couple of arcade games that people could marathon? Like, say, for instance, Centipede is a marathon game. Defender is a marathon game. What if we could get and Tim? What if we could get Tim up there? Like RcadeRadio could sponsor getting Tim up here, and then he could actually earn money for Extra Life. And I'm just saying, maybe not this year, but maybe the next year we could plan this. I'm spitballing here, right? But wouldn't it be cool if you had a row of 4 arcade games and you had 3 professionals standing up here playing these games in a marathon fashion?
That would be awesome. We had a couple years. We had the original hockey, the old, almost looked like Pong.
Sure, absolutely.
The hockey game.
Yeah.
That was the cabinet, the original, 1970, 72?
Billy Seven, who Brian mentioned earlier, has one of those guys.
Yeah, we had one at one of our events. One of the coworkers that used to work there had one and brought it in and played it. And then we had Street Fighter Championship Edition.
And even if you suck at the game, right, you could just keep playing it till you fall off.
It was so much fun. So, yeah, those kinds of things. We've always tried to get video game or, cabinet old arcade games there. It's just logistically, it was difficult. And knowing enough people that was willing to help ship them or get them delivered and set up and so because we've done foosball tournaments where every dollar somebody pays $1 to play this person, and if they win, all of the proceeds went to their donation or whatever. It was that kind of fun activities. So
all right, so we're gonna back away from Extra Life just a little bit.
Yep.
I want to go back in time to, Troy Cleland's, what drove this guy to become a gamer? And so, Tim and Brian. Start thinking some questions, but my first question is, what was the initial game that got you hooked on video games? As far back as you can go, and tell me the story of what made you fall in love with that.
So my parents bought me a Commodore 64. All of the accessories. I had the tape drive, the floppy drive, everything. I had all of the monitor, the whole works. And I started playing the Dungeons and Dragons video games, the Pool of Radiance and the Champions of Krynn and those things. That was my first video game system that I owned, and that I was hooked ever since. I played on my buddies in television and played the Advanced Dungeons and Dragons on Intellivision, Atari 2600. But I keep going back to the one gaming system that I played so much was, the Commodore 64, playing the Dungeons and Dragons games, Forgotten Realms and stuff, and Dragonlance. Like, that was just my thing. That's what got me hooked. And it's history since. I can't get away from them.
Do you ever go back and play those old games?
I don't have Commodore 64. I've looked at getting some of the Commodore. I looked at when they remade the Commodore Retro machine, right, but they didn't have any of the games that I played on my Commodore 64. They had all. I'm like, I didn't play any of these.
You could probably mod it and put some ROMs on it, I would expect. But I mean, I don't know that for a fact.
Right.
I was looking at maybe getting one of those myself.
I wanted the Commodore 128 when that came out, but man, you think about it, people blow their mind if you think about. They complain that we spend $500-600 on a console today, and the Commodore 64 was like $3,500, right? I mean, that was what we had. But SSI, they made some amazing role-playing games and strategy games back in the day. Like, they were the game launching company. They were the publisher for so many games that influenced me playing games. So,
as a PC gamer, that's what I find really funny today. You tell them you got a $2,000 computer today, and they're like, "Oh my God, you spent $2,000 on a computer. You could have got a console way cheaper." And I just keep thinking $2,000 is not that much compared to where the old, PCs. I don't know if I really call them PCs, but Commodores, Tandys, the stuff back in the day with
the Apple IIs,
with all the extra, yeah. They're personal computers, but most people, I guess, probably don't call them PCs specifically. But to me, they are. The early computers, and like you just said, $3,500. People today would go, "Are you crazy?" But yeah, that was cool stuff. I had a friend that had all that set up. He had the cassette drive and everything.
Yep.
Some of those load times were pretty painful. I don't ever want to hear complain about modern load times after that.
And then I actually upgraded to the 9600 baud modem so I could play online with the bulletin boards and do MUDs.
I ran a bulletin board for a while. That was a lot of fun. And my first modem was a 14.4, so I started out just a little bit after that. But yeah, most people today are baud. What's baud?
We were just reminiscing about that with my mom. She was talking to somebody and says, I had the longest time when we first got call waiting, right? Do you remember when call waiting came out on the phone? And my mom's like, I was waiting for this phone call, and she's like, I come out in the living room, like, the phone hasn't rang. Like, what's going on? I'm waiting for this phone call. And she goes, I happened to see Troy sitting there, and like, why can't I get a phone call? I'm like, well, I'm online, Mom. And she's like, well, yeah, but I got call waiting. I'm like, yeah, star whatever cancels call waiting.
I had this whole thing from Radio Shack that you plugged in line, and I don't remember what the hell it was called, but it would keep it from knocking you offline if a call came. That's all we had, just some little add-in device. And yeah, I never told my mom about it.
Yeah, she didn't know about it either until she was waiting for a very specific phone call and never got it. Couldn't figure out why.
All right, so let's talk a little bit of art. So that's kind of cool. Way back. And the modem technology. My first modem was actually a 33.6 Boca modem.
Nice.
But my first modem that I used most often was a 9600 baud modem at work, because I was an admin assistant and I had access to a computer and I did all this work for people within the company. So That was super fun. But let's shift gears. What's your earliest arcade memory, Troy?
Minnesota State Fair.
And that's
What year?
Early. Okay.
I'm trying to remember when. I was probably 12, 13, maybe around 13. So that would have been early mid 80s. Probably 83, 84, something like that.
And what games do you remember?
What was the game we were talking about, Adam? What was that game?
Oh, God. We were talking about Gauntlet earlier on
the one at the State Fair. Remember, I was like the big flight one that I played.
So the funny thing is now I'm gonna have to look it up here because you and I were talking about it, and I know the guy that took that game off of the State Fairgrounds.
Right.
He was on our show in the first season. Joe Leese, right? But Galaxy Force by Sega. It's this big machine with like big chrome bars and a giant monitor. And it was like an environmental machine. It was like a space shooter.
Wow. Yes, that was right.
Yeah, and he sold it to some guy in Europe for like a few grand.
I bet the shipping costs more than that.
Well, the guy paid for the shipping too. He paid for everything. Yeah,
I mean, I spent every day for 2 weeks of the state fair for like 2 years there because my dad worked at like hosted stuff for dog shows, and this was the game that caught me. I bet you I spent easily $50 to $100 in this game just playing this game because it was like nothing else I've ever experienced. It had full motion, it could move, like you felt like you were flying a ship, and that thing shook around and jerked all over, and it was awesome. So
were there any other games like that in the arcades that you loved, or was that sort of like the pinnacle?
That was, I mean, when I started getting into, once I fell in love with that, I think Afterburner was like, it didn't do the full movement, but it had the same thrill with the screen, and kind of it shook a little bit when you'd have things going off if you had the full sit down cabinet later. And then
and that would rock back and forth and side to side. So that was pretty cool.
What was it? Superbike, right? That was the road racing bike one, where you got to sit on the bike and ride.
Super Hang On, wasn't it?
Super Hang On, yeah.
Super Hang On, right? Those are the ones, like the ones you actually you got into. You could feel, you felt like you're riding a motorcycle, felt like you're flying a plane. Those are the games I really got engrossed into.
Chatters, tell us your favorite environmental game. Tron, Environmentalists have Tron. Was it a cockpit game? Was it, tell us about your games here in the chat too. So Troy, what's your earliest arcade experience you can remember going back?
Probably in the mid 70s when my parents used to bring me to the local bowling alley in the town that we grew up in. I would play pinball. That was the closest like arcade experience that I would have, playing pinball.
So either at the state fair or an arcade in your area. So you go into the arcade and you got money in your pocket. You get down to that last shiny quarter. What are you putting it in?
It would probably be Gauntlet.
Cool.
Like, I was an RPGer. I loved RPG games, and that just was the game that I enjoyed.
Bro Wizard needs food badly.
Yeah.
Elf shot the food.
Elf shot the food. Goddamn motherfucker.
Always that elf.
Valkyrie's a bitch.
Yep. Here we go.
Valkyrie is going to die.
Sorry, I threw out a bunch of F words and shit.
And I've been playing it. I've been playing it on my PS4. They relaunched it for PlayStation. It's like an enhanced version of a Gauntlet, but I've been playing it. It's kind of cool. Yeah.
It's fun. I got it on Steam. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. So
I have a PS2 version of it, and I also have. Did you guys ever play the NES versions of Gauntlet? By the way,
no.
I didn't. I had the Genesis version. That was a lot of fun. They did a really good job on that.
Genesis is good, but the first NES version, you could only play 2 of the characters. It sucked.
I don't think I played that version.
And then they played like that.
I hear resentment.
I think, yeah, you may be. I think the second version, Gauntlet 2, you could play 4 score, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, Gauntlet 2, you could change the character you were playing.
Okay, I didn't play that one.
Yeah, I didn't play Gauntlet. I can't say I didn't. I might have played briefly, but I don't remember it as much as I remember the original Gauntlet. So,
yeah.
Me and my buddy Chris Long on the Genesis, I got it for Christmas one year, and the girlfriend did the box in the box in the box in the box with the bricks in the bottom, and it took forever to open. And it's like, I was getting pissed by the time I got it open. And then when I got it open, I was like, I got Gauntlet. And I was all happy. I forgot about all the rest of that shit, and I just loved it. Oh, look at that!
Look at that.
There we go. That's what we're talking about.
Oh my God, what's happening here?
He's showing the board.
We're getting a little
He's showing porn.
Gauntlet porn.
Right there.
Some video game arcade porn there, man.
Definitely.
So this panel, the funny thing about this was, I was at an auction where I ended up with this, and it's brand new. Like, this isn't a rebuild panel, and it's the T molding is perfect, everything is perfect. So I had a cabinet made for it.
Nice.
I didn't know what else to do with it.
I didn't know what else to do with it. I just built a castle around my house.
Yeah, you know. Well, I mean, if you have this,
well, hell yeah,
you gotta do it.
Crap.
You gotta put it to use. Can't just sit there in the corner.
The logo sticks on have never been used. That's the awesome part.
Wow.
Jealous.
Your earliest console experience at home. What was it, Troy?
Sega
Genesis.
Yep.
Really?
Sega.
Okay, what was your favorite Sega Genesis game? Don't say Gauntlet. I'll have to kick you in the nuts.
Nope. Probably Madden 95 and Sonic.
You're killing me. Madden on a Genesis. It had to be the Montana. I love the Joe Montana football on that.
I jumped into Madden, and I never looked back until, like, I don't know, about 6 years ago I stopped buying Madden, but otherwise I played every year. I even ran leagues for Madden for the longest time.
I'll have to tell you a little secret. A few years back, probably 10 years ago, I registered a domain called smashmadden.com. and it was, my intent was to do YouTube videos of me crushing Madden video games because they suck. And like every single year, like you go to like a classic gaming place and you're gonna buy games, and all you see is like these Madden games that everybody's gotten rid of because the new one's out. Nobody wants the old one. So I'm like, smashmadden.com. I'm gonna have an episode where I run it over with a car like 18, 20 times. I'm gonna go through the lawnmower. I'm gonna have it doesn't matter what, some sort of like a document shredder. Something is going to cause death to these Madden
You're just going to
games.
go Office Space on it.
I know,
Is it
exactly.
The Alamogordo landfill? Isn't that where the cartridges go to die?
Right? I mean, I was so upset. But, such is life.
Right.
Okay, so, excuse me. Just going to pass out here real quick. All right, so we got a little bit of your background in what your earliest memories of the arcade. We got your you love Gauntlet, Galaxy Force, Sega. What drove you? Okay, so let's talk. Obviously, PC gaming is your thing, right?
PC and console, back and forth between the both.
PC and console. Okay, so let's talk briefly about those. Give me your top 3 PC games and your top 3 console games, if you can think of them right now.
Path of Exile, probably on PC.
Okay.
I really like that.
Give us a brief description, because I don't know anything about this game.
Okay, so Path of Exile is a Diablo 2-esque.
Oh, that's the one
game.
you were talking about earlier. Sweet.
Yep. It's for those that like Diablo 2. It is that, except on steroids. Just for the simple fact that its skills tree is like the size of the universe, galaxy, stars. Like there's just so many paths that you can go down.
Right.
I have fun playing that right now. I'm currently playing. I enjoy playing PUBG. I'm not good at it, but I enjoy playing it. PC gaming, man. I'd have to say number one of all time, and it will always be, is EverQuest.
Oh, really? That's interesting to me.
EverQuest of all time.
Wow.
I played 6 years. I had 6 accounts. I 4-boxed.
Oh my god. Does that game still exist, by the way?
Yes.
Yes, it does. Still on Steam.
Yep. They still have people playing. They have active servers. My characters are still. I log in once in a while, check my characters are still where I left them.
Let me just interject here. EverQuest was really a game changer, and I hate that term. But let's talk about that briefly, because literally that was one of the first games where people were like getting married out of the game
and addicted. Like
right.
There was a level of addiction to this game.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think it was revolutionary for its time.
Sure, absolutely. I totally agree.
Kind of a living MMORPG. Nobody had experienced anything. I mean, Ultima Online and those kinds of games existed before this or around that same time, but they took it to the next level. It just was something that I had never experienced before. And to be honest, it's something that I haven't experienced since.
Right, it's a phenomenon. So what was the other one you were just about to mention before I rudely interrupted?
Oh,
I was gonna continue talking about EverQuest, but
something you said that made me smile was when you talked about PUBG. You said you're not very good at it, but you have fun at it. And I think that's something a lot of the modern gamers have lost. You know, some of the people that want to do the streaming and they want to become YouTube stars and all that. Mm-hmm. Some of the esports players, they've turned it into a job, which is great if you can make money off of it. But you get in, you read some of the forums, and you see some of the complaints, and just people that don't seem happy sometimes. I think they've forgotten what games are for, and that's to have fun.
Right.
I was in a group on the Xbox 360 about 10 years ago. We had this really good group of friends, and I sucked. We played Call of Duty. My job was, if it's in the air, bring it down, because they knew my KD ratio sucked. But it was fun. It was a group of guys that enjoyed talking together. We worked as a unit, and it was just a lot of fun. You didn't have to be really good at it to have a really good time and enjoy what you were doing. Right. And I wish more people could experience that and get back to that instead of being so competitive they lose the fun aspect.
Well, let's talk about
what's really funny to
Go ahead.
What's really funny to me is that the fighting game community, which is kind of part of the esports community, one of the things that really fascinated me about that community is they really do hold on to that. They enjoy the game for the game, and it's one of the things that I never expected to encounter there. Like, they will embrace people who are terrible at these games and teach them and work with them and kind of coach them through it and like help them out. And you got guys that will fly to tournaments to go 0-2, get bumped out of a tournament just to go to the tournament and enjoy the tournament.
The camaraderie.
Yeah, and it's amazing. I mean, and you're right, Tim, because like all these YouTube streamers and these other guys, it's so focused on being the best, and if you're not the best, it's like, why are you doing it? And it was one of these things I did not expect to find in the fighting game community. It was actually a very fun aspect of that was surprising and kind of inspiring, to be honest.
My first experience with that was when Dwayne and I were playing Nibbler at MagFest. The atmosphere in the room, the crowd that gathered, because Street Fighter 4 was just about to be released. They had I think they had the pre-release version there or something, and it had a huge crowd. And even though I couldn't watch it and participate in it because I was kind of tied to a cab at the time, listening to it, just hearing the reaction of everybody that was watching it, and it's like, wow, there's something really going on over there. I want to check this out when I get a chance. And the fighting scene, that's a cool thing. Evo and all the stuff that they do, those guys, fight tooth and nail, but they have fun, and it's like a group of brothers. When it's over with, they're all friends and stuff. And I mean, not everybody, but for the most part, those guys actually have fun and they love the game, and I love seeing that.
Totally.
Right.
Yep.
Sorry to get you sidetracked there.
So my console games.
Yeah.
I enjoy Division. The Division series is pretty decent. But the Dragon Age series has been one of my favorite console games. And if we go PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3, probably The Last of Us is probably my number one game
PS3.
of all time.
Yeah. That game is freaking awesome.
I was going to ask you.
That game is by far... I've never had a game that made me emotionally just fall apart, cheer, be happy in a game. Like, that game was like playing a movie.
All right, so that's more modern console. PS3 I would call more modern console.
Right.
Let's go back. And I'm gonna say a console name.
Sure.
And you tell me the game that you love the best, okay?
Okay.
So let's start with NES.
Mario Brothers.
SNES.
Oh,
it's a
that's
tough
getting harder. It's probably Super Mario Brothers.
Like the Super Mario World?
World? Yeah, probably.
Yeah, okay, cool.
Yeah.
There we go.
I didn't own one. I played on my stepbrothers. So
sure, yeah.
If
And
I
that,
mess these up, I don't remember. Correct me.
Totally cool. PS1.
Ooh, man, I played a ton of games on PS1. But I probably played the most of Madden.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah.
See, me it was
I
Toshinden.
played Sonic, but I played Madden a lot.
To me,
Like,
it was
a lot.
Toshinden 2. And Ridge Racer. Okay, I'm gonna go back further. I'm gonna go back into your. Did you ever play one of the Pong prototypes, or not prototypes? One of the Pong games from either Telstar or Sears
Atari,
or
the Atari.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, on the Atari 2600, what would you say is your favorite game?
Oof.
It's a tough one.
Yes.
Boom.
And by the way, Brian
they have a
and
track and
Tim, you got to think of this too.
I just answered kaboom.
Kaboom. Okay, cool.
Yeah,
Didn't
no
they have
contest.
Didn't they have a track and field on the 2600?
Not 2600. They did not. It was not too much later.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't
All right.
remember there having one on there.
Yeah.
Yeah, kaboom was the game for me on there.
Man.
The speed.
That game was insane.
I cannot, for the life of me, remember any games that I played on or other than Pong.
Like, or Combat, or
I still love playing Combat.
Combat is such a
Drives
great game.
people nuts.
Remember Gunfighter?
Oh, there's a missile defense.
Or
They have that on
Gunslinger?
that. I know that was an arcade game, but didn't they have Missile Defender or something like that on the Atari?
Missile
also?
Command.
Missile Command.
Yep.
Yep.
was
So I
like-
remember playing that on the Atari 2600.
Sure. And I would agree that's probably one of the best games ever made for the Atari 2600. Is the
Asteroids.
Asteroids was
Another good
great. Asteroids was literally okay. So in the game, the system came out in what, 77, right?
6 or 7, yeah.
Yeah,
somewhere.
yeah.
And Asteroids didn't come out till 80. So 3 years later, this game hits, and the 2600 is suddenly like relevant.
Right.
Because it was an arcade game.
Right.
I
It was.
think that's what really pushed
It
it.
sold a ton of games. Like
I remember
Asteroids.
the utter disappointment people had when Pac-Man came out, though. They were so excited for that.
Well,
and it's just like,
You say that, and I totally get that. And it's also listed as one of the best-selling games of all time because they
know.
they marketed it with all the systems. They sold it with all the systems, so they could count it as sold, right? But
right.
but I still love that stupid game. I mean, it's not.
I couldn't get into it.
Oh,
I just
ba-dong,
couldn't.
ba-dong, 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 whoop, 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 whoop. I mean, it's like so terrible, and I love it.
I remember being so disappointed in Joust, like wanting to play
Yes.
it so badly, being on
Yes.
there and being like, "This is terrible."
Which is
Controls
actually,
were terrible.
Joust on
Consider they had Space Invaders and they had Asteroids and they nailed those, and Missile Command was pretty good.
yeah.
And then those weren't. And
Yeah.
it's like,
No,
oh,
yeah.
crap. What'd they
But
do?
Joust on the NES was great.
Yeah. Yeah. very
I
good.
mean, like, we didn't, and that I think that we talk about this quite often, but like as collectors of arcade games, Brian and myself and Mark and the core audience, we probably all sought to have the best arcade ports as possible on all these platforms. Right. And we were always collecting them, always like, okay, there's a Midway collection on PS1 and PS2 and PS3, and I'm going to buy all of them because why not? And some are better than others. And then you have Hydro Thunder, and you have all these games you can't play, and Robotron and Tempest, and you buy them over and over and over and over again. And Brian's going to leave us because he's got to go. But thanks for being on the show, and we'll catch up with you, Brian. But my point is that we had all these console games that were supposed to emulate these arcade games, and now we're collecting just the arcade games because those are the things we really wanted.
Pitfall was another one. I was looking at lists for Atari 2600.
Oh, yeah.
I probably played a ton of Pitfall.
Oh, Pitfall.
I see it listed, and I know it sold really well, but I don't know. It was kind of boring to me.
It is the first real platformer.
Yeah, I don't know. It didn't trip my trigger, I guess.
Yeah, and I think the only way it tripped your trigger is if you spent the 3-4 hours it takes to beat the game. I mean, you know what I mean? And Tim, I know you got patience. I know.
A little bit sometimes.
I mean,
I never had it for that game though. I don't know. It was too repetitive.
Yeah.
And not fast enough.
Sure.
Maybe it was part of the problem for me, which is why I said kaboom. Just as soon as you said 2600, I said kaboom. You know, the sheer speed, the fast games were the ones that really hooked me.
And Mr. Peabody in the chat also agrees with us on Pitfall. That's pretty cool.
Right.
All right, so we had NES, we have 2600, we have PS1, Genesis. We've already kind of talked about that.
Yep.
What about Dreamcast and GameCube? Any favorites there?
On GameCube probably would be the Zelda games.
Sure.
The Zelda game that was on the Dreamcast.
Four Swords.
Yeah, and then was it Breath of the Wild?
Yeah.
No. Is that right?
That came later.
No, not Breath of. There was one that's on the
Twilight something.
Yeah.
Wait, you said Zelda on the Dreamcast?
Not the Dreamcast, the GameCube. Sorry.
GameCube, okay.
Yeah.
I was sitting here for a minute going, what?
No.
Wait, did I miss that? How did that
I was
happen?
typing Dreamcast in chat and thinking...
Twilight Princess. What about Luigi's Mansion? Chris Peabody brought that.
I really lost a lot of interest in Mario the minute I started playing Sega.
Oh, but you know Luigi's Mansion's awesome, and actually they made 2 arcade games off of that thing.
Sega does what Nintendo don't.
Oh.
Now, the funny thing is so this will be full circle. You talking about Luigi's Mansion? My grandson plays Luigi Mansion on his little Game Boy or whatever, DS or whatever, right?
Nice.
So
I can't play a Game Boy without readers now. That's how bad I am. It's just so stupid. I feel like I'm 100 years old. I can't do anything. Okay, so we have a couple. Any chatters? Have any questions for this gentleman in the chat? Otherwise, I want to have you talk about when is Extra Life this year? How can people get involved?
Sure. This year's November 2nd. Usually, always happens the first Saturday of November or the last Saturday of October every year. So It's always right around that same time.
Sweet.
And that's the national event. It technically starts like mid-January. You can start fundraising all year long. We've done a bunch of fundraisers through the Adventure League, D&D Adventure League in the Twin Cities. So people can be creating donations and doing stuff now if they want to. To sign up, you would go to extralife.org and register yourself there. Choose the hospital that you want to raise money for. It could be, the local one to your town or a hospital that helped a family member or somebody that's close to you. And 100% of those proceeds that you raise goes to that hospital of your choice.
Sweet.
Nice.
I love this charity. I've been wanting to have you on for a while, and I think it's great that you're here to talk about this. I hope we can get some old school arcade gamers involved with, sit in front of an arcade game for 24 hours. I suck at Donkey Kong. So maybe it's not just one person. Maybe you get a team, right? I have 5 guys.
You can.
We're going to play Donkey Kong. We're going to take it in shifts. And we're going to raise $1,000 for kids.
And then just put it in perspective, I have friends of mine that can't do 24 hours, whether it's health or family reasons. They just choose weekends. Like I got a bunch of friends that do their D&D group, and they play one Saturday of every month, and they just use their D&D group as their charity fundraiser event every weekend all the way through the year to raise money. So it doesn't have to be a 24-hour event. It can be flexible to how you fits your lifestyle and capabilities.
I got 2 buddies that do that host D&D every week. I should get you hooked up with them because I think
I play twice a week.
Yeah. Sweet. I mean, I love it. That's pretty sweet. I love it. Okay, so all right, let's think of a good last question, and hang with us after the show a little bit because we want to kind of wind down with you a little bit. But let's think of one last question. My chatters, Luigi's Mansion 3 comes out on October 31st. That's pretty sweet.
Nice.
Smoking in the Boys' Room, Motley Crue. Casey's just caught up to
late.
What's in the
Missed it by that much.
Yeah.
By the way, Casey, you're not getting any stickers tonight. I love you. But anyway, if you had any parting words as a gamer for our guests, what would they be? What would it be like? Is it sort of like stick with it, something simple, or is there a real purpose in getting behind something like Extra Life, for example?
I think it's the same philosophy I do with just about anything I do in life. I guess we're one big community, whether it's my gaming community, the people I work with, then my neighbors, the city I live in. We're a community. We only become better as a community as we share our experiences and teach and help each other. So that's why Extra Life is so important to me, that it helps me knowing that I'm helping my community in one way, but then in the gaming community, the gamers have been the biggest giving community I've ever been part of for this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So it's have fun, do what you love doing, don't let anybody stop you, and just share your knowledge, because you never know, somebody else out there has the same interest, is just scared to ask.
I love that.
Sure.
I think that's great. Tim, do you have any parting questions for our...
I have kind of I guess it's my standard one I kind of ask. I want to do it in 3 parts.
Awesome.
Desert Island.
Okay, cool.
One video game. Any system, evolve, whatever you want. Just one game only.
Oh, boy.
So hard. I hate this question.
Yes.
I just want to kick people in the nuts who ask me this question.
You don't want to kick me in the nuts 3 times then.
If I'm on a deserted island or a desert, one game and one gaming system, I would probably bring The Last of Us on the PS3 or PS4.
Nice.
Okay, that was part A. Part B, what movie? One movie.
Interesting.
Man, that's so hard. I have so many that I like. But if there's one movie I could watch over and over and over again, I would probably say Braveheart.
Really?
Nice, good choice.
Really?
And part C, the final part, what record, album, cassette, whatever format you wanted, but what artist, what album would you choose?
AC/DC Back in Black.
No.
Good choice.
I
like it. No hesitation.
Such a good album.
Solid choice.
I have 69 AC/DC albums. They are my favorite band. I used to roadie for a AC/DC tribute band for 2 years, so
nice.
I've lived the dream.
Oh, it's freaking awesome, man. All right. This is where we do a little bit of sign off for the Arcade Radio Show. And, well, you know, my music's not as good as AC/DC, but what the hell. So, thanks for everybody for listening in, because this has been a great show. This has been the Double R's Arcade Radio. Like us on Facebook. You know, give us some good ratings on the iTunes podcast channel and whatnot. You can even call into the game line at 612-548-GAME. You can follow us on Twitter for our latest shenanigans, and you can subscribe to this YouTube channel. So hit that little bell and you'll know whenever we're on. You can also subscribe to our podcast on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify, anywhere you listen to podcasts. But for now, that's going to be it from the show. This is Arcade Radio. We hope you had a great time, and we'll see you on the next show. They're mean. Those guys are mean. I don't know why they're always doing that to us. I don't get it.